let people log on as they're coming to join us this evening on this really beautiful warm day that we're having. But we are gathered together, so we will also enjoy our time. And thank you for joining us for the second workshop in our community series, Understanding Disability in Your Community, put on in partnership with the Gateway Association. My name is Erin Northey, and I am the Provincial Supports Coordinator with the Children and Family Services Department at the Métis Nation of Alberta. I coordinate our community sessions and assist with the development of an FASD program with the Children and Family Services Department. I am helping to guide this session again today. Also on the call with us, we have Kate Dawson, our department's communications coordinator, who will be monitoring the chat for us. If you were here last time, you'll know and remember us. If you're new, then we welcome you. So please note that we will be recording the session tonight to share with those who registered but were not able to attend tonight. It may also be posted on our website, social media, or used in other M&A materials. If you do not wish to be recorded, please turn off your camera and inform us in the chat now. We are really excited to be able to host this event tonight, and we're looking forward to answering your questions. Before we get started, we just have a couple of housekeeping items to go over. Sorry, I was a little bit fast there in my slides. You have been muted by default to make sure that we can hear the presenter. You may show your video or turn it off as you wish. If you have a question, please type it in the chat, which you will see at the bottom of your Zoom window. If you would like to ask a question out loud, please click the raise hand button and the moderator will reach out to you privately to unmute you to ask your question. We will have lots of time at the end for questions, and we will do our best to get through as many as possible before our time together is through. We ask that everybody keep their questions respectful. We recognize that we are talking about a potentially sensitive topic, so we want to make sure you know about the resources that are available for you if you feel that you need to talk to someone. Here are a few options for receiving help if you need it. And as always, if you feel like you're in immediate danger, please call 911. There are some phone numbers here on the slide. So if you have your phone handy, you can take a picture of them. I just wanted to note here, the last point, our wellness program at the M&A, our health department has given us a little bit more info on that. So that program is run through our health department, and the program was created as a way for us to support our community with a focus on mental health. The program comes to us through a partnership with Alberta Blue Cross and Homeward Health Incorporated to the Métis citizens. It's a short-term solution-based counseling. So due to the sensitive topics today, if you feel like you need some extra support, they are available 24/7 all year. So through this program, you can receive 12 hours of free professional, confidential, and culturally sensitive counseling. If you do need support, please call the number on the screen and I'll read it out loud, 1-877-729-0261. When you call, they will ask for your employer or organization, but you just need to let them know that you are with the Métis Nation of Alberta and you should be good to go. For more information about the wellness program, you can visit our website at albertamétis.com. Now I'm excited to introduce our presenter for today, Katie Suvanto. Katie is the Indigenous Relations and Community Development Manager at the Gateway Association. She has several years of professional and personal experience working within the disability support system in Alberta. Katie has worked with the M&A in the past, and we are excited to have her back again to present for us tonight for our second workshop in the series. So thank you for joining us today, Katie, and I will hand it over to Katie. I'll stop sharing.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you for coming today. It's such a beautiful hot day. I'm sitting here with a fan in front of me, and I hope that you've got something to help keep you cool. I appreciate you being here. It's been a hard week for us, hasn't it? It's been a really difficult week. I know that my family and I were down at the ledge just a couple of days ago. It's been such a blur, but I'm so glad that we're able to come together on here and discuss something that's near and dear to us. I just want you to know that this is a very brief overview. So this is a summary of the supports that we offer at Gateway Association. And I know that the Métis Nation also can offer support services for you, but it is a very broad, very high level information session to walk you through transitions and all of these different aspects in life. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. And I love thumbs up. So if you can give me a thumbs up to let me know that you can see it, that'll be the first awesomeness of being able to access this. Great. Great. So I'm a mom with a son with autism, and walking through the disabilities, and not only just the son, but I have nephews and family members who have all been through the disability sector. And in my time, I have seen some gaps in the disability sector. And so we got to put something together that not only I can help our people understand, but help others understand how to access services. So we are going to go into it. Welcome to workshop number 2. Oh, and I see that there's chat. I keep breaking up and freezing. Brenda? All right. I will let Kate.
Yeah. This is Erin. You seem to be okay on my end. I do know that there has been some network problems across either the city or the province, so it could be your location. It's hard to know.
All right. Well, if anything, my contact information will be there, and I'm always willing to help when I can, and I can always talk to anybody after this. So this next slide, we're all welcome, and we know that. You know, today I said at work, I want to find the exact words that I used with my team. I'm the only, I guess we're considered Aboriginal individual on my team right now. And I left the sentiments with this about talking with First Nations and Métis and Inuit. For years, many of us were afraid to use our voices until they spoke from the grave. Now we owe it to them. And today we bring this information to you so that you know how to advocate for yourself and your loved ones through the system. It was interesting to me because sometimes we stop doing land recognitions, and I don't like doing that. And I found a great one from the Calgary Foundation stating, spanning generations, acknowledgement of the land is traditional custom of the Indigenous people and Métis when welcoming outsiders onto their land and into their homes. To build respectful relationships, acknowledging the land is an important part of reconciliation. It honors the authentic history of North America, its original people, and tells the story of creation in this country that has historically been missing. So in that, I want us to know that I'm here to have a conversation. I'm here to let you know that I understand, and if your heart is heavy, please feel free to walk away or take a break. Know that information will be sent to you after this, but we're here to support you. So for those that have not heard about Gateway, I am going to play a video. I need some thumbs up if you can hear it. If you can't hear it, I can do a Cole's notes on it, but I want you to understand where it came from, because you'll understand where we're at today by understanding where we started.
In 1980, that'd be possible. 1980. Since 2010. Our problems began in 2010. So between 2010 and 2012, Gateway was a very important part of my life. 1986, that I first had a meeting. So from 1980 to 1995. It was 70, it would be 76. 76, yeah. The difficult part is fighting for the same things that the other two daughters get automatically that he need. The public didn't think at that time it was their moral obligation, but the separate school board was the first group, and they sat there and they said that it's a moral obligation that they fund everybody. They couldn't separate. So at that point, that was the toehold that Gateway had in the education system. I got to some of the meetings that we had at the school and discovered that I wasn't alone in feeling this way, but there were a number of parents that were beginning, they were questioning why we had to go to the school. Mm-hmm. So that group of parents sort of got together and started talking about what we should do. And when we first approached them, they told us that we would have more power if we became an entity rather than just a group of parents. That's what got us started in saying we need to form an association. Mm-hmm. And we formed a society. Gateway kept evolving. And as it's evolved again, it's something very different than it was when we started.
So there are 4 primary ways that we support families that have a child living with an intellectual disability. So that's around future planning, advocacy, mentorship, and education.
I think there was some sense of redefining their role clarity around local support, some family support versus systemic advocacy. And so, that was another shift, I think, of clarity that I think was positive for Gateway to do. So really building that family support piece, and then now looking more around employment and doing some real intentional work in employment, which is so exciting.
Gateway provides a lot of different services to job seekers and employers through our employment program. A lot of time and research is spent learning about the job seekers, learning about careers and different positions, so that we can find the best fit for job seekers and employers. We base it on skills and abilities and interests, personalities, special circumstances, and a lot of other factors, including finding those best match employers. We offer supports to help job seekers build confidence and leadership skills. We teach people how to job search and to best work with Gateway in this process, interview and communication and problem solving skills, and the list goes on depending on their needs. There's a trickle effect that happens when people get employed. They finally start to feel or to see what it feels like to belong. They feel valued, they find their voice, they make friends, start doing the things that most of us take for granted.
I'm shy. I'm not often very, I'm very nervous a lot of the time. The big thing for me is anxiety. Anxiety for me is a big problem when it comes to job seeking and job finding because I'm self-conscious enough to know of my flaws and my problems and the stuff that bars me from moving into the working world. After having spent some time at Gateway Association in a volunteer position, where I was able to get some meaningful experience with people as part of a team, I was able to, on my own, with the support of Gateway backing me up, find a position, apply to it, do an interview, and even though initially they had some concerns, Gateway was there to provide answers, support, and knowledge to them such that they would be able to better understand me. And it ended up with me being hired in a professional capacity at their company.
I want to tell you that that's Connor, and he's my favorite person. Connor did some internship at our organization, and Connor lives with autism, and I have a son with autism. So it gave me hope. It gave me hope that, hey, this is going to be okay. He's going to be okay. I know that he's going to. I have 2 older children in university, and my son has that opportunity. And it allowed me to create a vision and a plan. And Connor actually helped me do that. So I thought it was incredible to be able to work with such an amazing guy. And then he came back when he won an award, and we were presenting him with this award, and he came back and he goes, guess what I did? And I said, what? He goes, I went on vacation. I said, oh, that's nice, right? He goes, yeah, but I paid for it all by myself. My parents didn't have to. So what an incredible thing for him that he was able to find something that he loved doing, and then to know that there's a team. Even if I didn't work there, I'd say there's a team that could walk him through that process and walk with his employers and get them through the awkwardness of sometimes what happens when somebody with a disability tries to gain employment. So yeah, I just thought it was really wonderful. So what I want to remind us all is that we are included in the Canadian Charter of Rights. Now, today, more than ever, it's really important for us to remember that. To remember that when you're accessing services, it is in the chart. It is in the charter, and this is your right. And to never forget that. Every time you go into a meeting, to never forget that. It's not about going in and saying, this is my right, but it's about knowing that it's your right and being able to channel that whenever you're asking for something. I have to do it all the time. And I want to encourage you to remember that you can too. So let's take a look at disability in Canada. This one was completed in 2017, and as we know, it takes a lot of time for people to get statistics here, but it gives us a starting point. Accessibility in Canada is about creating communities, workplaces, and services to enable everyone to participate fully in society without barriers. According to this chart, more than 6 million Canadians aged 15 and over, that's 22% of our population, identifies having a disability. And it is expected the actual numbers are quite higher, and we know that they are. Only 59% of Canadians with disabilities aged 25 to 64 are employed, compared to 80% of Canadians without disabilities. Persons with disabilities earn less than Canadians without disabilities, 12% less for those with milder disabilities, and 51% less for those with severe disabilities. They're more likely to live in poverty. So we're going to talk a little bit about transition to adulthood. Once you or the person you're caring for is reaching adulthood, which is 18 years, the FSCD caseworker sends us a referral when the youth is 16 years old. And there are courses that are offered and supported by PDD, if you qualify for PDD, that your worker will refer you to, that we offer at Gateway Association. Transition planning for adulthood is one of the most important life transitions we can experience. Youth of the ages of 14 to 25 require support in navigating this really critical time of life. So there's 4 workshops that we offer that are free when you're ready, and if you have somebody that is transitioning. That's life transitions, valued roles, visioning and planning, and navigating the system. So we're going to break that down a little bit for you here. Adolescence is a time when social conformity and acceptance by peers is important. Youth with chronic illnesses may experience socialization, particularly if they have a visible disability or if they miss a lot of school. The transition to a normal adult social life can be inhibited by isolation, by physical or cognitive limitations, and by health regimes that interpret normal participation in daily activities, schools, and social gathering. An adolescent who has to spend time between classes, at lunch, and attempting to go to treatments or getting medications They miss invaluable social learning with their peers. But we know attachment is normal and is essentially part of the human experience. I don't know, I'm a mom of 3 and they're all, even though they're 24, 20 and 7, they're still my babies, as I'm sure they are for many people here. So as children, they form an attachment to the parents that allows us to have a safe place to learn and grow. We develop a sense of independence as we grow, alternating between striking out on our own and coming back to our safe home space. When we're young adults, we start to transfer our attachment to other relationships outside of our family, and our home base becomes broader. When there has not been an opportunity for this experience to occur, we can become overly dependent on parental or family support. We may believe that this attachment is routine and will last throughout adulthood, which hampers a successful transition to adulthood and postpones the inevitable. I don't know about you guys, but this month, my 7-year-old has slept in his own bed for the first time. First time. Because I understand this. I was scared to let him sleep by himself. What if he got up? What if he walked out of the house? What if something happened? So for his entire 7 years, up until recently, that little guy has been right beside me for various reasons, but mostly because of transition is hard for him. But I enabled it too. So changes will naturally occur in life, and these childhood attachments may come to an abrupt end, leaving overly attached adults floundering with a sense of safety and security in their lives. I'm one of them. Do you know how many times I wanted to go and crawl into his bed or get him to come back into mine? But I'm not going to help him that way, and I'm definitely not helping myself. So a young adult must learn that life will not always be the same, and developing new and secure relationships is really important. I don't know about you, but my children are my life. And it's hard for me to say because I'm like, I had my older ones yelling at me saying, you never let us have a life. And it was hard for me because I was so scared that something was going to happen. I'm going to be full front with you. I'm a single parent. So I got 2 in university and one with special needs. And I coddle them, all of them, until they yell at me and tell me it's enough. So I'm slowly learning that it's enough. Everyone transitions at their own pace. Your family member with a disability included. For children with disabilities, the transition to adulthood is no different than that of their peers. I think we need to hear that again. It's no different. The exception is that they are additional complex challenges that must be overcome. So youth, ages 14 to 18, we typically transition to high school with a general plan and lots of dreams about what we're going to be doing in the future. We start to build some independent living skills, such as getting our first job and learning how to drive and being out in the community in our own and different ways. Shopping for ourselves, moving out into the community, and developing stronger relationships with our peers, and our attachment of our parents starts to naturally transition from primary to secondary roles in our lives. My son's getting married. That's a hard transition for me. When we start to just test drive our identity as adults while living in the security of our families. So this is typically what happens to a youth 14 to 18 years old. Ages 18 to 25, we leave our high school. Many of the relationships that we've developed are there. We move into post-secondary education. We start to develop a stronger attachment to our peers as we move away from our families. We start a strong sense of citizenship and become more involved. As dependent adults in our community, we establish our identity as young adults. We start to explore romantic relationships as our attachments start to transfer or transition from our peers in general to more intimate and close relationships. We start careers, and we may move out of our family home. And the average age for most young adults to move out now is 26. I wish my kids still lived at home. They're 24 and 20, but I smothered them. But these are what typical stages are. And then from 25 to 30, we complete our post-secondary education. We start to consider committed relationships and starting families. We're after pursuing careers and starting to define who we are in the context of the world around us. We start to become entrenched in communities. We are active citizens, fully participating in the world around us. That's typically what it looks like. So let's picture your loved one's quality of life right now. They want a full and meaningful life path. They want the same as what we typically go through. We all know success is different for everyone. Life plans are based on our values, our cultures, our environment, our focus on priorities of well-being. That would be emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, financial indicators. This is a quality of life framework. It breaks down the area of a person's life in 8 different domains. These domains are grouped into 3 factors. So well-being, which would be emotional, material, and physical. Independence, personal development, and self-determination. And social participation, which is interpersonal relationships, social inclusion, and rights. So if you complete an under 18 individual support plan with Gateway, you're going to see these 8 points again. They're really important. They're going to help you navigate a life plan for your loved one. I just want to see a show of hands. How many people have a very hard time navigating our system? You can do a thumbs up or show of hands. I'm trying to see everybody on here. Yeah. Transition to adulthood is one of the most important life transitions we experience. Our youth that have disabilities require support in navigating this critical time of life. How are we doing so far? Is everybody following? Thumbs up? Good stuff? Right on. So we're going to start breaking it down a little bit for you. This looks blurry to me. I'm sorry. I think I have to redo it. But I think if you don't have your glasses on, it might be a really good time to put them on. But when approaching and researching resources, you might find a balance of natural, generic, specific, and disability specific, which may be the most beneficial. So this model that you're seeing shows these different types of resources and the amount of resources that we need to access full lives. You'll notice that the first 3 resources that we all access, we saw it in the video in supporting people to get their human needs met that focus. So it's not just special needs, but our community is important. Our jobs are important. Our families and our coworkers are important. And as you saw in the first section, what that whole role looked like. When we look at only addressing disability-specific resources, it can lead to devaluing people who live with disability because we're not looking at the whole person. So when we look at natural resources, they're all the things that naturally occur in our lives. They are the natural relationships that we develop that support us through our lives. Generic resources, most are resources that anyone would access in time to time in their community. Most everyone in their community uses them. They tend to be groups instead of individuals. And this would be the second biggest type of resources we most often use. The question always comes back to, is our person ready to use them? And I'm going to get you to keep saying that in your head. Is that loved one that you're taking care of, can they access them? Because that takes us into looking at things like guardianship and trusteeship and all of those other things that we've had smaller discussions on. And then we look at specific resources like employment, Service Canada, community services, post-secondary supports. And then disability specific, which is always hard because through funding, employment, education, service agencies, and leisures, We're always having to show our people as the worst so that we can access those services. I don't know about many of you, but I do know that I have to show my son's worst qualities and be able to ensure that he gets the best supports. It's really hard sometimes, but for funding, I have to fight continuously with it, because if we lose it, he has the chance of losing everything that we've worked so hard on doing, because he needs that constant support. So there's many things that we need to look at when we're trying to set our loved ones up for success. Is post-secondary an option? What are the barriers? Did you know of the support services that are out there to assist you when advocating for your loved one? Do you guys all think that you know all of the access supports for your loved one? I don't know if there's a thumbs down one, but how about you give me a thumbs up to let me know that you're having a hard time accessing them? All right. Did you know that there's disability-specific services along with inclusive services? So if you know somebody that has cerebral palsy, did you know that there's a specific area that you can go to for cerebral palsy and they can provide you with funding? Did you know that? No. So if you have a disability, or if your loved one has a disability, you can work with somebody at the M&A or me, and we can figure out what that is, and we can go to that agency that specifies on that disability and access supports. Does anybody here need a ramp? And I say that because, and you can send it in chat or whatever, or secret message Kate or Aaron, but there's a ramp program for everybody who, if you require or modifications in your house, this program gives you a grant, which means you don't have to pay it back, for up to $15,000 from my understanding. So if you need adapting your showers, or if you need adapting, putting rails in your washroom or ramps up or something, you can apply for this. And I can teach you how to do that. Do you know that there are programs that can assist your family financially for your loved ones? So that's why we're doing this today, to help. We want to help create this vision where you know that there's something out there that can help you, and you know that there's a team here to help you assist that. So let's create that vision. But remember something, there's no buts in a vision. That's my favorite thing to say to my son. There is no disability in a vision. It's not based on your disability because it's a dream. So pushing our boundaries helps us learn and grow. Things happen and we have the opportunity to learn from our failures. So our vision changes as we change throughout our lives. How many of us have the same vision of where we wanted to be today 10 years ago? It's not the same. We update that vision. And if we're not making a vision, we need to make one. I know that we have a vision as a First Nations and Métis community to do better, for Canada to do better. We have that vision instilled in us. We have to have that vision for ourselves, and we have to have it for our loved ones. So potential is limitless. Do not place your expectations, reservations on this vision for your child. Allow them to direct it. So let's talk about Mateo. He's 7. What does he want to be when he grows up? He wants to be a YouTuber. That kid is going to be a YouTuber. We set things up for him. I record things for him and let him think that maybe one day he's going to do that. I don't even know what a YouTuber is. I think it's just somebody on there that goes and talks to people like I am to you today. People like it, and eventually they become famous. So he's going to become a YouTuber. Is he going to be like this in 10 years? Maybe not. Is he? Will he be doing? Maybe he will. But you know what? This is his vision, and he gets to direct that. So we need to make a plan. So we can help our children develop a plan to achieve their vision that is person-centered and focuses on their strengths throughout to adulthood. If we have a strong vision, we can also include systems and supports in this that work, and they can include our children's vision in their development and in their plans. How many of us have kids in school that have IEPs or IPPs? And when you have those, yeah. And when you have those, you put in there, you have a plan, but you put in there what you want to, what their vision is. So one of my goals and our plans in my son's IPP was he needs to learn how to read. Yeah, he needed to learn how to speak too because he was nonverbal up until he was 4.5. So you know what? The beginning of the year, he was reading at an A level and he got a Slurpee last week because he reached C. That's better, and that's one step at a time. And we celebrate these small successes, but we've created a plan to do that. And I have to follow up with that to make sure that we get to that. So the plan we develop with our kids is for their whole life should be shared with all of the professionals who work with them. One of my favorite things to do is to create a binder for each year. Because sometimes I still like paper. Some people are really good at spreadsheets and such like that, but I have so many spreadsheets, I'm scared it's gonna get lost. So when I look at that plan, I have the vision, I have the IPP in there, I have the review of the IPPs, I have what we have from the pediatrician, I have what we have from a specialized in behavior services team. I can teach you how to get that because he has a team of 5. But we have all of these things in there and everything that we had to send to FSCD in the very beginning of that book now are all of his visions and his art and all the things to remind me that aside from all of this part of his book, this part of his book is actually who he is. And this part, and even to keep it growing, I have to advocate for him to make sure that that rings true. So there are 3 steps to planning your visions for your loved ones. This will help create a path of success for them. When we talk about preparing, we're talking about preparing to support someone in developing a vision for their future. We ask a few questions to ensure we have a good start. So why are we doing this? I ask this with my son all the time. And he knows right now to say, because I'm going to be famous. And he might. Why are we focusing on developing a vision? So that he knows what his measurables are. Are we all clear on how this is going to work? What has to be done? Anything at school? Do I have to advocate so that he's getting the supports that he needs and he's actually getting his work done to ensure I know he's coded? So are they providing him with the supports he should be getting to ensure that we're meeting our goals for our IPP? Because I'll tell you what, when he comes home from school, we can't get any homework done because he has a meltdown, because he's so exhausted from trying to be great for everybody all day that he crashes. He might walk in here tonight and tell me he's hungry. He might want to show you guys something that he's been working on. But you know what? This is a safe space. But he still needs to know that there are steps. There are steps that he has to take to succeed. Is there anything at the Glen Roads or other supports that we need to access? And what's important? What is important to the people involved in the process? The locations and the times and all of these things have to play in the approach. So what works best for your child or your loved one? Is it a formal facilitated process? I hate formal facilitated processes. It feels so institutional. So let's have a holistic sit down and let's talk about my child. And it depends on what works for you. I love just having a natural, organic conversation about what is the best thing for him. Because it takes the clinical out of it and it puts the human into it. What are our resources? Do we need a car? Do we need a facilitator? Do we need help getting to an appointment? What do I want to learn more about visioning? Are there online resources? Who is involved? Everybody? I'll tell you what, when I got a psycho-ed assessment for my son, his respite worker got it. And if you don't know what that is, ask me later, write it down. His teacher got it. His care team at school got it. Specialized services got it that we work with. And anybody that comes into my son's life, I even shared it with his older siblings because they have to understand that he has a learning disability. They have to understand that all of these things are there so that we know how to best be his best champions. Anybody who can come or comes into your circle or shares that vision, all of those connections are important when building this. So when we create a vision, we start at the now. We meet it right now. We don't go backwards. We don't think forwardly. We start right here. We look at what we're currently heading and what is our direction. We look at the vision for the future, which may not be the same as to where we're going. When we're visioning, it doesn't have to be attainable, reasonable, realistic. Again, I want to repeat, it's not our vision, it's theirs. So whether we work, our interests, our hobbies, our social inclusion, we do not have to label it. We don't have to qualify or quantify it. We just need to explore it because it helps us set up a plan. So be flexible. Be open for change. Look for signs, get support, seek clarity, rest and celebrate every little success, even if it's just verbally or getting a Slurpee. Or McDonald's has ice cream cones for $1.29 right now. When he has a good day, he gets an ice cream and he knows that until I run out of change and then he's out of luck. But I want to remind you to keep going and remember how many times you changed your own life path and your own transition. Who knows about SMART goals? Whoop. All right. SMART goal is a desired endpoint with a definite timeline or deadline to use to achieve some sort of expected development. It sounds so institutional. But it's a really good visual, regardless of how you view it. We have kids or loved ones that have disabilities. It's baby steps. It's hard. And in order for them to have the same quality of life that we have to work a little bit harder. So goal setting is what of a vision. Goals are steps we need to take in order to get to our end goal. They could be skills we need to learn. They're not a list of hows. They're just an acknowledgement of what we might need to do to get where we're going. Do you have a diagnosis yet? No? Well, let's make a goal of getting one. It's as simple as that. Have you worked through transitions yet? And are you ready for that? No? We sent a checklist, or we're going to send a checklist out after that to help you see if they're ready. That's goal setting. We don't have to have an outline of how we're going to achieve each of these steps when we're setting goals, but we can figure that out once we get to know the steps and we need to take in order to reach our vision. Goal setting is a process of identifying that. So specific goal. They wanted my son to get from a A level to a G level by the end of the year. I laugh because you know what? That's a great goal. Let's measure it. Each month, we're going to do home reading and reading assessments and see how he does. How is he going to achieve it? Well, he's going to get a little star every time he reads one book as an incentive. Is it realistic? He gets to see it. And timely? It doesn't mean we're going to absolutely hit that goal. We have, 3 weeks left of school to go? Can he get from a C to a G? Maybe. But my secret goal is if a kid makes it to a D, it's a 2 ice cream cone kind of day. So I look at some of the, when you look at the specific measurables, they give an example of your child's 18th birthday. You know where the location's going to be. You know when the date is. You know who's going to be invited there. So all of these are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. You know the who, what, when, where, why. That's basically all this is. So we gotta set goals. Woo! I keep spinning forward and my phone keeps going off. So it's important that we have a goal. It's important that we have a vision. And it's important for them to know that they have a valued role in the community. We all have roles as we play in our daily walk through life that hold value in our community. These roles can be fulfilling and give us our purpose. These roles often come through our interests and values. But if you're a devalued person, you may not have all or be all of the things that Western society values. Our communities value it. Our communities are so accepting. Our village, our people. But outside of our village, it's a tough thing. And eventually, if they're strong-willed, they're going to get outside. And we need to prepare them. Role, social role, talks about how we can help people that have been devalued by society to live a meaningful life for many, many years. So we talk about relationships and households and communities and education and work and leisure and interests and cultural. We look at citizenship, and each domain can be thought through as a spectrum. For example, a positive household role could be a landowner, and a negative one could be someone who's homeless. Roles are critical. They address the belonging, acceptance, and contribution of people. Positive roles can be very strong defense against being socially devalued. Roles are what define a person's place in society. Someone can be present in society where they see others and are seen. They can be participant in society where they know others and are known. For example, roles in my community. So we just moved into a new community 20 days, last month. So we've been here a month. So we're getting to know our community. I've always been involved. I was a vice president of our community league like before, and I've been always an activist for our community for a very, very long time. 20 years I've been doing it. And my son is not afraid of anybody because his mom can talk to anybody. So we're walking down the street and this little guy is waving up, "Hi, Fred. How's it going? How's your day today? That's a really nice purse that you have." And they see him and they respond to him, and he's not afraid. And neither should any of our loved ones. We should not shelter them. We should make the community know who they are so that if anything were to happen, you have built this knowledge in this other community that might be protecting. So there are large and small valued roles that we hold in society, and we place different value on them. So what are some of the valued roles that you play in your community? Who volunteers? Thumbs up. Who takes part in the M&A events? Thumbs up. That's your community. And being a part of it when you're there. I don't know if you guys remember when Métis Crossing opened. I remember working on the design for that a while ago. And I remember the day that we put the shovel in the ground. And everybody, there were so many people around that day that they all understood that community was there. And that community was proud. And that community was involved. And that community couldn't wait. When we got the trapper tents put up, when I got to bring the boys there and sleep at Métis Crossing, that was our community.
I'm so hot, gosh.
They were free to run. They were free to run wherever they wanted to, because I knew that that community would keep them safe. And my little one with autism, nobody cared that he had autism. They just cared that he had a hot dog in his hand and he was ready to go. And he was part of that. So the valued role for him is the combination of behaviors and functions and relationships and privileges and duties and responsibilities that are socially defined and are widely understood, recognized within society, and are characteristic or expected of a person who occupies a particular position within a system. The unfortunate thing is this is a system. Where we work, where we live, our community, there's all these moving parts. They deserve to be a part of that moving part. I want to talk to you guys about Alex. Alex is my buddy. If you live in St. Albert, you might know Alex. Authenticity by Alex. Alex went around at the beginning of COVID and put on messages of hope on mailboxes. He wasn't defined by his disability because he wanted to bring good messages to people. So, is there value in being known and not just being an observer? Of course there is. You become a contributor. So how do you do that? This is Alex, everybody. Alex was at, we went to Michael's for our orange shirts because obviously with COVID, I put on a few pounds. My son grew, so we had to get orange shirts to go to the ledge. And we had to go to Michael's because it was too late. Like everything, we didn't have time. I just assumed they'd fit. Well, nothing fits me anymore. And he grew. He went from like a size 8 to a size 12. So we were at Michael's and two things could have happened. I could have stopped and acknowledged Alex because he's my friend and he makes my day. Or I could have just kept driving because everybody's busy. I held up traffic, stopping, asking Alex what he was doing there. Alex was getting stuff to put on a tree in St. Albert. So if you know that tree in St. Albert, look out because it's going to be decorated really soon. People in his community see him going out for walks. They see him at the mall and at the pool. And like I told you, I saw him at Michael's. So when COVID hit, he was not able to access the community anymore. So he thought of new ways to engage and contribute. He started putting, I said, well, messages, but it's actually jokes on local mailboxes for people to read. And then he would add positive messages. And now he's part of an awareness campaign that I started at Gateway, and it's called In It Together. So people in Alex's community recognize him for his regular roles and creates a sense of security for Alex. Alex is safe because people know him. One of his passions was shopping, and he had the ability to find the perfect gift for people. So he decided these talents would be combined to start his own business, and therefore he is now an entrepreneur. Alex has gifts. He can't speak to you, but he has a book of things where he's allowed to point out and tell you what he's thinking. So at Michael's, when I stopped traffic and I was being honked at and I didn't care, he told me that my hair looked really nice that day. And it made my day. And my son jumped and put his head out the window and he's like, "Where's your orange shirt?" And he messaged to his aide and he's like, "I'm buying one right now." Alex is part of our community. Just like your loved ones or you or your children, they're part of this community. It's important for us to identify that with a vision and a plan, we have this opportunity to create a meaningful life for our family members. So I want to remind you that at our website, we have a series of those workshops that I talked to you where we can help you assist your youth or your loved ones that's transitioning with their disability to include them in a meaningful life, whether it's apprenticeship, university, college, community living. We can help. You can visit our website, you can click on events or upcoming events, but summer's coming. And like many, many people, I'm sure it's hard to come today when it's so beautiful outside. But you can go on to these things. I've included on the handout after this workshop of different videos that you can go and access when you're ready to walk you through different things about transitioning and supports and community living. We have a Families Forward resource that is for parents, where we talk about trusteeship and guardianship, mental health, addictions, wills and estates, bank cards and IDs, problem-solving advocacy, pre-employment, 211, housing through the M&A, problem-solving, employment through us or Rupert's Land, post-secondary education, the Get Work program that we currently have that's in schools, the Queer Disability Connection, and the Voice of Albertans with Disabilities. You need to know that there's a ton of support to help you create these parts and these visions through these sectors, because you're not alone. So as a parent, when my son was diagnosed with all of these new terms and short-form words, they become difficult to understand. And I'm still learning. What is PDD? What is H? What is RDSP? What is ADHD, AD? What is MAP? Sometimes these things are meant to help us, can be difficult to navigate. So our team can help. And we have an acronym list. If you weren't at the first session, please email Kate back and she can send you the first session's information. Kate, is that okay?
Yep, that's great. I put my email in the chat.
Awesome. I haven't even looked at it yet, but I will. And an agency list. So if you weren't at the first one, it'd be really good for you to look at that, because you'll be accessing all of these plans that are happening and a reference guide. So we're currently updating stuff all the time, but we're here to help. So here's the team. There's Betty and Yonique, and it's now grown to 5 people, and I'm Katie. So we want to help you advocate. I'm here to take questions. I'm here to talk to you about the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm not a specialist, but I am the advocate. I am the one who will go to government and ask the tough questions that some people are scared to. Because what I did learn this is by pressuring for something better for your family, your kids, nobody's ever lost services. There's this fear of the unknown. There's this fear that says, don't rock the boat. I'm going to tell you today to rock it. I'm going to tell you because you want services for your loved ones. And they don't mind questions. And they don't mind taking this, because some people have great workers and some don't. Some people have great transition specialists and some don't. But like a doctor, if you were to get a diagnosis that you weren't sure of, would you seek a second opinion? You might. So it's okay to do that. And it's okay to learn what these things are all, how they're all going to work together for your loved one. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to ask, do you have any questions today?
Katie, I do see one question coming up in the chat. It looks like somebody is asking if the Gateway Association is for people outside of Edmonton as well.
Yes, it is. Where are you located? So Gateway Association is typically anybody, because the great thing about COVID right now is we get to go digital. We don't have to meet in person. We meet you where you're at. So if you're accessing Zoom today, we get to meet you through Zoom. If you want to do it through a phone call, we get to meet you through a phone call. So wherever you are, we now have been given a grant, from my understanding. I'm not fully aware yet of what it is, because like most grants, they give it to you and then you have 3 weeks to put it together because it was supposed to start 2 weeks ago. So yeah, we're all over Alberta. I've put together in that list the first one, if you haven't received it, but if you did get the first list, you can see all the FCSS locations and all the FSCD locations in Alberta.
I'll just jump in here to say that if anyone wants to ask a question out loud, you can click the raise hand button in the reaction section on the bottom of your screen, and I can reach out to unmute you, or you can send me a chat. Otherwise, feel free to put your questions in the chat there. And Katie, I do see that we have a question coming in from Sherry here, asking if the Gateway can help with first aid certification 2 for their 21-year-old son.
I'm gonna have to find out for you. So Kate, if you want to take their information, it would depend on where you are, who we can access supports from, and what specifically do you need that first aid for? Because you might be able to access that through Rupert's Land, depending on what it's for. If a lot of you didn't know, Rupert's Land actually has a disability services program for the employment side. So if it's to get a job, Rupert's Land, from my understanding, might be able to provide supports for that. But I'll check on my end, and we will get back to, I'll get back to Kate, and Kate can get back to you.
For sure. Does anyone else have any questions?
Did anybody feel like something was missing? There's a question. Is there something, thanks. Is there something that you were coming for that maybe we didn't touch base on? I think that's important because I want to make sure that you're here because you feel that you're getting your time. That you're getting the information that you came here for. And if not, tell me what it is. I'll answer it and then I'm going to add it to the presentation because I don't want anybody to feel like there was a missed opportunity. Roxanne, Brenda, I get to see your beautiful faces.
I have a question. It's Erin here. I'm just gonna figure out how to unmute or how to get my video going here because, you know, it's not like this is the first time I've been using this or anything. Here we go. I have too many tabs open, so it's distracting. I just want to say I loved that, you know, you were telling a story and that conversation around, you know, community and that individual that is in St. Albert and the community knows him, right? And so I have worked with you know, PD in the past in multiple organizations and families. And that seems to be an area that families not struggle with, but it's almost like getting to that step can be difficult. Is that true when I say that? And what would some of those challenges be, or why is that? Because I think I'm trying to make the connection of you know, people knowing who their loved ones are, and that perfect story that you spoke about, that gentleman there in St. Albert. So does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
I'll say this. A parent with a child with a disability, let's call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They're different.
Yeah.
They do things that you know, that you just shake and go, I can't believe you just did that. My kid used to strip down naked and run through a superstore. People would judge and say things and do whatever. He could not stand clothing on him. It doesn't excuse his, you know, what it was. But should I keep him locked inside all the time? No. Am I going to do him any favors by doing that? No. So
Yeah.
we risk him getting naked.
Yeah. What was the gentleman's name again in St. Albert?
Alex.
Alex.
You can
So
him on authenticity by Alex. He makes cards. He makes these wonderful cards, and they're all like, they're not like, you know, like pressed and stuff. Like he makes them and he sells them. So Father's Day cards, Mother's Day cards, Christmas cards.
Yeah.
He's
So
a valued member.
It sounds like Alex, you know, he's in an area and people know sort of where he's going to be at, and that's sort of what he enjoys. So I think also a key is for our loved ones is finding things that they love to do and that are their strengths, and kind of expose them in those areas, would you say? And then that naturally, you know, build an environment or a sense of community for them and for other people in the community as well.
Oh, hey, you know what? He's happy. He's doing what he loves. What about, I think, you know, there's this misconception that because they have a disability, we have to protect them.
Right.
That we have to, like, so nobody can hurt them. But I've talked to so many self-advocates who are in their 30s and such who have said, we hate when you do that. We want you to treat us the same way you would treat our siblings. And yeah, oh, I can't do that. Yeah, you should. Because you're the ones that are making me feel different.
Yeah.
Right? So there was this story that I saw of this guy who wanted to work at an escape room. That was his goal. He wanted to work
there. That's amazing.
But so I had to think about how I was going to say that.
Yeah.
But this team that worked with him created this vision and this plan, and he owns it now. He owns it. We put these barriers in front of because we forget to include them in their plans and in their visions. Yeah. So I think that we're their worst enemy. So take them out.
Yeah.
And if they're making noise, you know, like, that's everybody else's problem because they have every right to be there. Yes. You know, if my son has these, like a tick, and sometimes he'll just whistle. And I don't even realize it anymore. But when people say, why keep whistling? I said, because he's happy, leave him alone.
Yeah, that's right.
We have a question from Nicole.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, Nicole.
Hi. I think maybe I'm in a different area than what you're already talking. My daughter just turned 20 and I went through the transition alone, figuring all the bumps and guardianship and trustee and all that stuff alone. I guess I'm wondering, is there support through you guys to help me now that I've got over that hurdle of the paperwork, the legalities that can help? Like, I'm trying to work with, I have a PDD worker. I'm working with employabilities, but it seems that we just keep getting stonewalled. It's like, because my daughter is severely handicapped, nobody wants to help.
Okay. So Nicole, yeah, we have this great family support team that even after transitions, we help people up until they're 100. Like, you know what? So there's this opportunity. And I know that we're working now with the MNA, but there's these opportunities for these visions on this plan. And let's talk to her. Let's see what she wants to do.
I would love to, but she's a mute.
No, but like, does she have a device that she works with?
No.
Do you know that you can get a device for her for no cost?
we've used sign language the best of our abilities. We haven't been able to get, when we went to the I Can Speak through Glenrose, they told me that she had to start off at the basics, and she couldn't figure out how to use the basics. And I tried to tell them, well, it's because she's bored. She's more, she can communicate more than what you guys are letting her. And they wouldn't give us the machine that was appropriate for her. So, because they wanted her to start off with just that one button device where you push it and says hello or bye or whatever. But she can already verbally say that.
Mm-hmm.
So because she wouldn't participate in those activities, they wouldn't give us a machine where if she pushed the picture, it would say, I'm thirsty or I'm hungry or.
Well, our team has a ton of like resources that they can provide you, that there's like apps through iPads and such like that that can work. If you don't have that, you know what? I would say talk to our family support team, because she's only 20. There's so many things that are going to be happening right now. And she has a full life to live. So they actually will help build that vision and build those goals with you as to like, does she want to live independently? Can she live independently? Can she live with a caregiver? All of these different things. So yeah, absolutely. And there's a new program through Gateway called Mentor Abilities. And that Mentor Abilities, and there's one through Rupert's Land too. But like, so let's take a look at it and see, okay, what does she want to do? So if she says to you in her way, what it is that she wants to do, well then maybe we have a partnership with them, or maybe Rupert's Land, you're allowed to go to different people and go, this isn't working, let's try something different.
Awesome. I'd love to know who to start to talk with. So I'm just getting frustrated.
Yeah, here, let me, they're going to send out our information anyways. And so on the handout that you get, there you have their information, you have our information. And I know it's a constant battle. Trust me, I get it. But know that you can go elsewhere, that you can ask, and if something's not working for you, change it. You know, I was so upset that I had to change my son's school. It wasn't working for us though, but something just wasn't working. And it was my thing that I thought, he's going to hate the change of routine. It's better to keep them there than change his routine.
Right.
Well, he wasn't reading there. So we changed the school, and now he's reading, and he's got goal setting, and he's got this like amazing community that, you know, the other school, and for every reason, they were like, it's COVID, don't worry, he'll catch up next year. Are you crazy? No, he's not going to catch up. There's no way he's going to catch up. So we changed schools, and now he's thriving, and he has a community, and people like him. You know, we're not in trouble every day, maybe every other day, but not every day.
Awesome. So, that's good news. Thank you so much.
Reach out, Nicole. We got a great team.
I will. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. We have another question here. Can Gateway assist with recruiting support workers?
We have our family support team has it. There's also, I'm going to go and take a look for you what it's called. Support workers are hard right now, aren't they? We keep losing respite workers and others. So I'm going to go, there's a Facebook group, and I'm just going to pull it up right now. And it is respite. Families looking for respite if you have Facebook. Or there's a ton of agencies that we can provide you information for. But the reason why this one is really great is because it's here. I like it because we actually get to, do you want me to put it in the chat, or do you have it in there already? You have it?
Just in there, yep.
All right, you're so quick and awesome. So this is great because people talk and they share their respite workers that are really, really good, because the last thing, here's what happens. We get so many hours or whatever it might be. We have these contracts, and we have a really great worker. But what happens is somebody has more hours and more of that. So we lose a really great worker because somebody can offer them more. Here allows us to share our workers. So because I have the best worker ever, I can say, I only need her for these particular days, but I know she wants more work and I know she doesn't want to give up working with us. So then somebody will say, I need it for this day, this day, this day. I get to keep her on, but share her so I don't lose her. So that's a great resource to use. And then we have agency lists that definitely our resource team can help you with.
Great, thank you. And also, can Gateway help with FASD young adults with career goal settings? He's impulsive and unsure.
Yeah. So absolutely. Our employment team is unlike any other. And I say that because I've just had the pleasure of being able to work with these very, very passionate individuals. So they know, they're very aware of all of these things, and they coach them, and they give them tips, and they check in with them, and they set goals, and they make them accountable. Because as a parent, we go, yeah, he's having a bad day. They don't. They say, you were told to do this. You were told to get this information on, and if this is something you want, I'll work with you. If you don't, I'll have to work with somebody else. They keep them accountable. I used to think, like, when I heard it, I'm like, boy, you're hard on them. That's because I'm a mom, right? So amazing, amazing team. I know that, and I keep going back to Rupert's Land too, because they do have a disability aspect, and they do work with that, and they do get funding for it too. And they work with the same silos. They do the same thing. So check ours out, but check theirs out too, because you're a citizen, right? And so you get funding for being a citizen, and they take care of that. Our services are free too, but you have these amazing, amazing services right within your umbrella.
Thank you. And Sherry, just that was Sherry's question. Just to add to that, I'm currently, we're almost completed an FASD program for the M&A with Children and Family Services. And that's not quite out yet, but please keep my information as we will be hopefully launching that within the next couple of weeks, actually. So I can be a support as well for those resources. So please connect with me for that. And where can we get the cards from Alex? We have that.
Oh, on Facebook, it's Authenticity by Alex.
Okay.
Authenticity by Alex. Kate, do you have that? He's awesome. He's an entrepreneur, and he has a great sense of personality.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is I lead a committee, and it's called In It Together, because we're in this together, and Alex is one of my members. And so, you know, there's all of these misconceptions that, can they add value? Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
He does. God, you know what? He has ideas. He gets out there and does things. I think at Christmas time, he delivered me a little bottle of champagne and chocolates. And he knows that he's my favorite now. So he is just incredible. He's got an amazing drive, and his goal is to just make his community happy. And how many of us set out to do that? How many of us actually go out every single day or decorate a tree for the sake of somebody finding it in St. Albert and going, that's awesome? Not very many of us do that.
No,
So
it's
it's truly a gift.
Great. Yeah. I think this is sort of the last question. It's not really a question, but just sort of a comment. My daughter is in a specialized program with PUF funding and supposed to be entering kindergarten this year. we've tried advocating, and my team lead from the program has tried speaking to the principal and specialized learning services through Edmonton Public and to the the principal won't budge with accepting my child with her DA in the school. I tried another school and they were full. I feel so defeated because now my only choice given is to put her in preschool to socialize. I feel this is so unfair. I'm not ready to trust the school with their services versus the one-on-one she's receiving right now. Not really a question, but just a rant. As much as schools preach inclusivity, I didn't feel that from my community school principal. Yeah.
So I hear you loud and clear. If you were in our part 1, you saw that the school is different and your support services are different. If they were to work together, we'd have this like amazing combustion of individuality and wonder. Never stop advocating.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to, and I'm going to make this really personal right now. So I'm not doing this to trigger or whichever, but I'm doing this because what happened on the 31st hit all of us very, very hard. Nobody advocated for them. Our job as parents are to continuously advocate. And here's your thing. I'm here to help you. Erin and Kate are here to help you. That entire team are here to help you and advocate for you. Now, with the school, you know, my son has had this team since he was 3. And like you, I was defeated. And I felt like they're so difficult to work with. Yet I'll tell you what, I get it. If they were working with you and just, if they were allowed into the system, we know that they'd be demanding the best, making sure, following up, doing all this stuff. And the hardest thing for our people to do sometimes is to trust. But things are different now. So what I say to you is don't stop. Write down everything. Send them a letter. Send the school board a letter. Advocate. Don't stop and educate yourself on the whys. We can't change, but we can change if we all start doing the same thing. If we all start writing letters to the school board, if we all start writing letters to our minister and our premier, if he listens. And sometimes he does. So I say to you, I'm sorry you're there. I've been there. I get it. I was in a school that I felt they thought that they were doing the best for my son, but they weren't. So I changed the school. And if I talked to another person and she changed the school like 6 times, does that make her a bad parent or hard to work with? No. It makes her a strong advocate for her child who's now thriving. If it's not working, change it. There's some things you can't change, but you can start advocating. You can start writing that letter. You can start by telling them why it's not working. So use your voice. Reach out. Tell somebody you need support. Reach out to one of us. Definitely we'll walk you through the process and what we learned. So I have a team now who, it's interesting in the school system because once they get their funding for coding, they get to spend it however they want. So they say. But the reality is that we can demand better for our kids, no matter what grade they're in, no matter what, if they're coded to get supports, you make them accountable for those supports. And I know that there are some schools out there that are incredible and they're working really hard and they're pushing it. And there's an aide in the class and there's that. But it's up to us to build those relationships. Because if it were up to me, that team that's been working with him since they were 3, he's 7 now, would be holding his hand the whole way through. But then we talk about protection again. They're there to protect him. if we don't allow somebody new into that circle to grow and to create a new vision and to spread out a little bit, are we doing them justice? Their lives are going to change all the time. We're going to age out and somebody else is going to have to take care of them. So trust in the process, but be very present in the process. I hope that helps.
I seem to have left.
Oh, you're still here.
I did. I left. I have been having my own connection issues and kicked me right off the whole internet. So I had to reconnect my whole computer. So the screen is not being shared anymore, but my information is in the chat. I'm not sure if there's any questions. I don't have the chat pulled up. If not, we can come to an end. It is almost 8:30. I want to thank you though, Katie. I said this last time, but it truly is, it's very, I don't even take my eyes off you actually when you're speaking, when you're talking about your experiences and your stories. So thank you for that. And I'm really looking forward to the last workshop in the series, which is June 16th. So if you haven't registered for that, please register and we will do that. Together on June 16th at 7 o'clock. And also we will be emailing you the form and the resources. Please fill out the evaluation and provide us feedback. It helps us with coordinating and facilitating future topics. So we want to hear what we can do better and what else you'd like to see. So again, you'll hear from us with a follow-up email with some additional resources.
Thank you guys so much. And
Thank you.
take care of your hearts this week.
Yeah.
Not just this week. We're going to be going down a really long journey. And stay strong and reach out and be there for each other. And don't think this is a heavy topic. Disability is a heavy topic. But so is everything else happening in our world right now. So don't go it alone. Reach out. We're here. I'm here. They're there. But if there's any part of this that you missed, you'll get those resources. And I promise you, just give me a call. Give them a call. Okay? So take care of your hearts. And thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.